I paid my brother's entire medical school tuition after our parents said they couldn't afford IT. Then he told them I was settling and should fund his lavish lifestyle post-graduation. They had no idea I'd already cut him off until the dean called. The message notification lit up my phone screen as I was finishing another client's tax returns at 11 p.m. Mom's group text: Sunday dinner. Big news from Camden. Vivian, bring those tuition payment forms we discussed. So proud of my baby boy. I'm Vivian, and I've been paying my brother's medical school tuition for the past 4 years, every cent of it. My laptop screen blurred as I blinked away exhaustion. Another late night of freelance accounting work after my regular 9 to 5 at the investment from the stack of instant coffee cups beside me told the story of my typical Wednesday. You coming to bed soon? My roommate Ruby called from the hallway. It's getting late, just one more return, I replied, though we both knew I'd say the same thing. An hour later, my phone buzzed again, this time, and it was Camden. Sis, can't wait to tell you everything Sunday. BT's view, my rent's due next week, same account. I stared at the message, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. For years of these casual money requests, for years of just until I graduate turning into just until residency turning into what next. The memory of how this all started played in my mind like a war now. Movie. Mom and dad sitting me down right after camp and got his acceptance letter, their faces painted with that particular blend of pride and worry. We just can't afford it, Mom had said, wringing her hands. But he's so brilliant, Vivian. He could be such an amazing doctor. Dad had cleared his throat awkwardly. You're so response. Sybil with money, sweetheart, always have been. And you're doing so well at your job. I'd agreed before they even ask, because that's what good daughters do, right? My phone rang, startling me from the memory. It was Ruby. I can hear you thinking from my room, she said. When I picked up, what's wrong? Family dinner Sunday. Mom wants me to bring tuition paperwork. Again, Viv, you've already paid for, I know, and your promotion. I know, Ruby. There was a pause. Want me to come with? I could fake an emergency halfway through. I laughed despite myself. Thanks, but I'll manage. It's just dinner. After hanging up, I opened my banking app. The numbers stared back at me. My savings account barely breaking 5 figures. My investment account depleted from the last 2 wish and payment. My retirement fund. Better not to look. My phone pinged with another message from Mom. Don't forget the forms. Camden, so excited to discuss his future plans. Future play. Lands. The word set heavy in my stomach. I opened my desk drawer and pulled out a folder labeled Camden Medical School. Inside were neat rows of numbers, each representing another piece of my life I'd sacrificed for my brother's dream: tuition payments, book fees, rent checks, car insurance, all carefully documented in my countenance. Handwriting. Ruby appeared in my doorway, arms crossed. You know what your problem is: my inability to say no, your inability to see how much you're worth. She walked over and closed my laptop. Bed. Now whatever Sunday brings, you'll need sleep to face it. I nodded, but as I got ready for bed, bad Mom's text kept flashing through my mind. Bring those forms. Like I was just the family banker, the ATM with a pulse. The next morning at work, my supervisor Fiona stopped by my desk. Vivian, that analysis you did for the Morgan account, brilliant work. Have you given any thought to that senior position we discussed? I felt a familiar pang of regret. I'm still considering it. It would mean relocating to the Boston office, she continued, but the salary increase would be substantial. My heart raced. The possible. Then my phone buzzed, another text from Camden about Sunday dinner. I'll let you know soon, I told Fiona. But we both knew what my answer would be. It had been the same answer for 4 years. Not now, not yet, maybe next time. As I watched Fiona walk away, something shifted inside me. Maybe it was the weight of all those late nights catching up to me. Maybe it was the realization that I turned down 3 promotions and 4 years. Or maybe it was just time I picked up my phone and typed a response to Camden. Yes, I'll bring the forms on Sunday. But for the first time, I wasn't sure what I'd be signing. Ruby's words echoed in my head. Your inability to see how much you're worth. Sunday was coming. And something told me it wouldn't be just another family dinner. Mom's pot roast filled the house with a familiar aroma. As I stepped through the front door, forms tucked under my arm, a good china was out always. A sign that Camden was the focus of tonight's celebration. There's my responsible girl. Mom rushed to hug me, then immediately reached for the folder. Let's get the boring paperwork out of the way before dinner. I held on to it. Maybe we should eat first. Camden bounded down the stairs, designer watch glinting on his wrist, a graduation gift to himself he'd put on my credit card last month. Sis, wait till you hear my news. Dad emerged from his study, newspaper tucked under his arm. There is my to successful chilled When he said, but his proud smile was aimed at Camden, we gathered around the dining table, Mom's best tablecloths spread beneath steaming dishes. I noticed the wine was my favorite. Read a bad sign. Mom only served my preferred wine when she wanted something, so Camden started barely waiting for everyone to sit. I have decided on my specialty track. Oh honey, tell them. Mom practically bounced in her seat. Neurosurgery. He beamed. It's incredibly competitive. But Dr. Phillips says I have real potential. That's ambitious, I said, carefully calculating the extra years of training in my head. It's perfect for him, Mom interjected, my brilliant boy saving lives. Camden nodded, helping himself to a large portion of roast. The thing is, it's going to be intense, like really intense. I won't have time for any side jobs during residency. The room went quiet except for the clink of silverware. I felt it coming. Actually, he continued, I'll need to focus completely on my studies. No distractions, you understand, right, Viv? I sat down. My fork. Understand what? Well, you've been so amazing with handling all the practical stuff. And since you're settled in your career, settled, the word tasted bitter. You know what I mean, you're stable, established. And it's not like you have a family to support or anything. Mom jumped in. What your brother means is that this is such an incredible opportunity. And you've always been so good with money, sweetheart. Good with money, I repeated slowly. You mean good at giving it away now? Vivian, Dad warned, his tone carrying that familiar don't rock the boat edge. Camden leaned forward, his face arranged in that earnest expression he perfected over years of getting his way. I've been looking at apartments near the hospital. There's this perfect place. It's a bit pricey, but the location would really help with my schedule. Have you looked at the numbers? I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. That's what the forums or for. Mom reached for my folder again. We can work it all out tonight. I pulled the folder closer. These aren't approval forms. What do you mean? Camden's smile faltered. I opened the folder and spread out for years of receipts, bank statements, and transfer records across Mom's precious tablecloth. This is everything I've paid for, every dollar, every cent. Vivian, please, Dad started, but I cut him off. $432,000, I said. That's not including the car, the rent, or the credit cards. The silence was deafening. But that's what family does, Camden said weakly. We support each other. Support, I laughed. Anne, the sound surprised even me. When's the last time any of you asked about my life, my dreams? Did you know I was offered a promotion last week? That's wonderful, dear. Mom said quickly. But right now we need to focus on Camden. Like always, I stood up, gathering the papers. I'm done. On. Camden's voice cracked. What do you mean done? I mean done, finished. No more payments, no more support, no more putting my life on hold. You can't do this. Mom's voice rose. He's your brother. Yes, he is. And he's also an adult who can figure out his own fine. Nancy's. I walked to the door, then turned back. Oh, and Camden, hope you enjoyed the Last Supper. Vivian, Mom called after me. Don't you dare walk out. What will people think? I paused at the door. They'll think exactly what I should have realized years ago, that I'm not an ATM. I'm a person. The drive home was a blur. My phone exploded with messages. Mom, Dad, Camden, all demanding I come back, all insisting I was being selfish. When I walked into my apartment, Ruby took one look at my face and grabbed two wine glasses. That bad, actually, I said, a strange lightness and my chest. I think it was exactly what needed to happen. My phone buzzed again. Fiona, this time still interested in that Boston position for the first time in years. I smiled as I typed my response. Yes, absolutely, yes. The next morning, I walked into the bursary's office at Camden's medical school. My hand steady as I signed the paperwork. You want to terminate all future payments. The clerk looked up from her computer. Are you sure about this, Miss Wade? Completely. I slid the form across the desk, and I'd like a note added to the account stating I'm no longer responsible for any charges the student will need to make. Alternative arrangements. Immediately she warned, that's not my concern anymore. My phone had 37 missed calls by the time I reached my office. I switched to silent and focused on my work, but Ruby's message caught my eye. Lunch, you look like you need to talk. We met at a usual cafe where Ruby ordered us both extra large coffees. Spill, she demanded. I did it. I cut him off completely. Finally, Ruby practically shouted, drawing looks from nearby tables. Sorry, but seriously, it's about time. What triggered it? Remember my 20th birthday? The one where your mom turned your party into a fundraiser for Camden's medical books? I nodded. Or last Christmas when I couldn't go on that ski trip with you because Camden needed new winter tires all the time. Okay, I get it, Ruby interrupted. ID. But why now? Because I'm tired of being the family ATM. Did you know Camden spent $300 on a watch last month on my credit card? Meanwhile, I'm eating ramen to make rent. Ruby's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and frowned. Viv, you might want to check social media. I pulled up Instagram to find Camden's latest post. Sometimes the people who should support you the most are the ones who hurt you deepest. Char. Toxic family data boundaries tracker. Healing he's playing victim. I laughed incredulously. Classic. Your mom's commenting on it. To Ruby pointed out, praying for you, my sweet boy. Some people just don't understand family loyalty. My coffee suddenly tasted bitter. $20 says. She wrote that from her house that I helped refinance last year. Back at work, Fiona called me into her office about Boston. She started, I want it. I said firmly, if the offer still stands, it does. But it means moving in 3 weeks. Are you sure your family obligations won't be an issue? No obligations anymore. I straightened in my chair. I'm free to folk. Gus on my career. My phone lit up with a call from an unknown number. When I answered, a professional voice spoke. This is Dean Mackenzie from the medical school. Do you have a moment to discuss Camden Wade's account? I've already spoken with the bursary's office. I replied, yes. About that. She paused. Your brother's in Rome. Status is now in jeopardy. He's claiming there must be some mistake. There's no mistake. I'm no longer funding his education. I see. Another pause. You should know he's been quite vocal about the situation around campus. Let me guess, he's telling everyone his cruel sister abandoned him, something like that. The dean's tone softened, though his version doesn't quite match our financial records. After hanging up, I opened my laptop and created a new folder. Evidence. Into it went screenshots of every transaction, every manipulative text, every guilt-tripping email from the past 4 years. Ruby appeared at my desk. Your mom's calling me now. What did she say? That I should talk some sense into you, that Camden's future is at stake. Ruby rolled her eyes. I told her I fully support your decision and hung up my email. Pinged a message from Dad. Princess, please reconsider. Your mother's beside herself. Camden's devastated. This isn't like you. That's the problem. I muttered. Everyone thinks they know exactly what I'm like. Ruby perched on my desk. Remember when you wanted to start your own consulting firm 3 years ago? I nodded. Right before Camden's first tuition payment was due. You could do it now, she pointed out, with the Boston salary. My phone buzzed again. A text from Camden. The dean called me and they're threatening to suspend my enrollment. Is this what you wanted to ruin my life? I showed Ruby the message. Watch how fast this becomes my fault. Let them spin it however they want, she said. You know the truth. I looked at the Boston offer letter on my screen, then at the growing folder of evidence on my desktop. For years, I'd been the family's backbone, their safety net, their silent supporter. But as I typed my acceptance email to Fiona, I realized something. Silence had been my chains. And I wasn't just breaking free, I was about to get loud. My phone lit up with another call from the dean's office. This time I smiled as I reached for it. The reckoning was just beginning. Miss Wade, I'll be direct. Dean Mackenzie. His voice was crisp through the phone. Your brother's tuition payment is now 2 weeks overdue. Without immediate resolution, he'll be placed on financial suspension. I understand, I replied, keeping my voice neutral. But as I explained to the bursary's office, I'm no longer responsible for Camden's expenses. He seems to think otherwise. He's been quite insistent that this is a temporary misunderstanding. I could imagine Camden's practice charm is rehearsed. Smile. It's not a misunderstanding, Dean Mackenzie. He's a grown man who needs to handle his own finances. After hanging up, I turned to find Fiona in my office doorway, ready to discuss the Boston transfer. Actually, she said, closing the door behind her, I wanted to talk about the salary package. The board up proved a higher offer than initially discussed. She slid a paper across my desk. The number made my eyes widen. This is I started what you're worth. Fiona finished what you should have been earning years ago if you hadn't kept turning down promotions. My phone buzzed. Camden calling for the 12th time today. I declined it. When can you start? Fiona asked. Before I could answer, my phone lit up again. Mom, this time, then immediately after Dad, then Camden again. Family emergency. Fiona raised an eyebrow. No, I said firmly, silencing my phone. Just people learning that actions have consequences. Back at my desk, I opened my email to find a message from Camden. Says this isn't funny anymore. The dean says they're going to suspend me. Mom and Dad can't help. You know that I have exams next week. Please don't ruin everything I've worked for. Everything he worked for. The word stung. Ruby appeared with coffee. Your brother's gone nuclear on social media. Check his latest post. I pulled up Instagram to find a long emotional post about family betrayal and navigating toxic relationships while pursuing your dreams. The comment section was filled with sympathetic responses. He's always been good at playing victim, I muttered. Speaking of playing, Ruby said, did you see what your mom posted? My mother's Facebook status. Read heartbroken watching my son struggle because of others' selfishness. Please keep Camden in your prayers. My phone buzzed with a text from Dad. Your mother's taking anxiety medication because of this. Is that what you wanted? I showed Ruby the message. Funny how they never needed medication when I Was working myself sick to pay their golden child's tuition. You know what this needs? Ruby pulled out her laptop documentation. We spend the next hour organizing my evidence folder, screenshots of Camden's luxury purchases, using my credit card records of my depleted savings emails while my parents dismissed my career opportunities in favor of Camden's needs. This is intense, Ruby said, scrolling through years of financial abuse. Have you shown this to anyone? Not yet. I hesitated, but maybe. My office phone rang. The dean again. Miss Wade, I apologize for calling again, but there's been a development. Your brother has submitted some concerns. Documentation regarding his financial independent status. My heart skipped. What kind of documentation? Form suggesting he has independent means to fund his education. Given your recent statements, I'm concerned about their authenticity. I set up straight at Dean Mackenzie. I'd be happy to provide you with detailed records of exam. Berkeley, who has been funding Camden's education for the past 4 years. After hanging up, I turned to Ruby. He's trying to forge financial documents. That's fraud, she said, eyes wide. Yes, I replied, opening my evidence folder. Yes. Is my phone lit up with another call, this time from an internet gentle number? Ruby grabbed it before I could hold up. She said, googling the area code. This is from London. Isn't that where Camden was hoping to do his residency? A new email popped up from the dean. Miss Wade, given recent developments, would you be willing to provide a formal statement regarding your brother's actual history with the school? I looked at the international number, still flashing on my phone, then at the years of evidence on my screen, then at the Boston offer letter sitting on my desk. You know, I said to Ruby, I think it's time everyone learned exactly who's been behind Camden's success story. You're going to do it, Ruby? Asco nukes. No, I replied, starting to type my response to the dean. I'm just going to tell the truth, every single detail of it. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Camden. Please, Viv, I need you for the first time in years. Those words didn't move me. Instead, I opened my email and began, Dear Dean Mackenzie, I appreciate your concern regarding this situation. Please allow me to provide a complete financial history. The truth, as they say, was about to set me free. The pounding on my apartment door started at 7 a.m. on Saturday. I knew it was coming, Mom's text said. Increasingly frantic after the dean's office contacted Camden about discrepancies in his financial documentation. Vivian, Mom's voice carried through the door. Open this door right now. Ruby emerged from her room, still in pajamas. Want me to call security? Before I could answer, I heard Dad's voice. Princess, please, we need to talk about this as a family. I opened the door to find my entire family in the hallway. Mom's mascara was smeared. Dad looked exhausted, and Camden, my perfect little brother, was pale with rage. What did you tell the dean? He demanded, pushing past me into the apartment. The truth. I closed the door behind them, every single detail of it. You had no right. Mom's voice shook. Do you know what you've done? Actually, Ruby interrupted, laptop in hand. She had every right. Want to see the spreadsheet of exactly what Vivian stoned for this family? Stay out of this, Mom. Snap. No, let's show them. I nodded to Ruby, who turned the screen around. 432,000 in tuition. She began reading. 68,000 in rent, 42,000 in car payments and insurance, 12,000 in credit card debt. Stop, Camden shouted. Those were gifts you offered to help. Gifts? I laughed. Let's talk about gifts, Camden. Like the Rolex you bought yourself using my credit card, or the luxury apartment who insisted you needed for studying. You're just jealous, Mom. Cut in. Jealous that your brother is doing something meaningful with his life while you just push papers around. The words hit like a slap, but I stayed calm. You mean my job, the one that paid for everything on this spreadsheet? The dean is threatening to suspend me. Camden's voice